Hey guys, TommyBryson here, and this morning I was reading a new statistic that just came out over at a very at a very confident website that I read right here on my cell phone, okay, on my smartphone. And the answer was, guys, that basically the stats show that hey, kids like reading more than they actually like playing Fortnite. It's a real statistic. Look it up if you don't believe me. But the truth is that obviously that's fake news, right? I'm making it up, okay? There is no statistic that says that because basically most kids out there and also adults and older folks don't like reading whatsoever. And the whole idea of this entire video here is to show you basically how do you start reading if you know it's good for you, but you absolutely hate reading. And by the way, so far, I read well over 200 plus books, and when I was actually growing up, I hated every single thing about reading. I was not good at it. I'm not a good speller. I'm not even a good reader. Sometimes I stuttered. I could read a whole paragraph and then didn't know a single thing I actually read. I was not the best reader whatsoever, but today I read well over 200 books, and I'm gonna show you guys exactly how that actually happened. And if you guys are new here, I post a video every single day, so you should also subscribe and hit the bell to get notified. On top of that, also destroy, dismantle, or just lightly tap the like button for the YouTube gods and the algorithm. Now, the very first thing is this, guys, okay? I don't think anybody actually hates reading. They just basically hate what they're basically reading. Does that make sense? You know, reading is an activity. What you're consuming is what the content actually is. The content that you're reading is what sucks. That's why when you're in school and you're reading about things that you actually don't care about, the answer is you're like, hey, I don't want to read this anymore. But for example, if you like Pokemon or RPG games and Fortnite, whatever it is, you don't mind reading, for example, the details about that gun or the details about that character or the details about that Pokemon, whatever it is, okay? Because basically you're interested in what you're actually consuming, the actual content. Reading is an activity. What you consume is the most important thing. If you absolutely hate what you're reading, you're gonna say, hey, I hate reading. And that's what I thought when I was back in high school. But then I read this one book that changed my whole perspective. And it was called The Giver. Nothing to do about finance or money, none of that stuff. It was just called The Giver. A very interesting concept. And I said, hey, how is it possible that I like this book? I thought I hated reading, okay? No, I don't hate reading. I just hated every single book I read before because basically none of those books were actually my choice, okay? Now, the whole concept is this, guys. One of the most important things to find out is basically, are you a reader where basically you have physical books and you read them? Or, for example, are you a listener when you actually listen to audiobooks like this, right? Which one are you? Now, I think people most of the times overthink this. Guess what happens if you listen to books back to back, back to back? Eventually, you get very good at paying attention. That's what happens if you actually read books back to back every single day. Eventually, you become a much better reader, okay? So the idea of like, hey, are you a listener or, for example, a reader? The answer is you're going to be best at one of those things. But if you want to get better at another one, just go ahead and do more and more of it. Now, I do a lot of listening when I'm outside. Like, for example, if I'm on a train, hey, let me put on my audiobook. If I'm in the gym, hey, let me put on my audiobook. But for example, if I'm at home, there is no way I can listen to an audiobook because basically I'm just like this, like, okay, let me just click around here, maybe watch this video while I'm reading something. Makes no sense, right? But the idea is that it's very distracting. So usually when I'm at home, I grab a physical book and I start reading it because basically I can only, my visual, my hearing, my touch, everything, all of my senses are just focused on that book. When it comes to listening, you can just be like listening, okay, and then watching something else, doing something else at the same time, and usually that's going to be distracting. So, are you a listener or a reader? Doesn't matter. Don't overthink it. Most likely do both. When you're on the train, when you're on the bus or a car or at the gym, listen to an audiobook. That way, you're not just wasting time listening to music, okay? But Tommy, I need to feel the pump. No pump. I can't work out without the music. The answer is that's not true. I thought so too. And now I can't work out without actually reading an interesting book, okay? Now, the second thing that's gonna be the most important thing if you wanna be a good reader and actually get into reading is basically the types of book you actually read. And there are two types, okay? Books you actually like a lot, and books you might not like, but they're actually good for you. It's kind of like, you know how you like McDonald's? It's great. You might not like it today, but you used to like McDonald's at one point in your life. But today you're like, you know what? I don't like vegetables, but I have to eat them. The same thing with books. Some books you don't want to read, but you have to because it's going to benefit you a ton, and the ROI, the return on investment, is going to be so high, right? So the idea is this, okay? When it comes to the ratio, when you first want to get started, you want to start very smooth. You don't want a lot of friction because it's going to scare you off. So usually you want to start with books you're very interested in, okay? So whatever you are interested in, start reading those books. If you like movies or whatever it is out there, instead of watching the movie, go ahead and read the book. And for example, if you want to learn, hey, how do I make more money? Go read some books on that. If you want to improve yourself, go read some books on that. Whatever interests you, go read those books. But then you're going to have to, at some point, read books that you don't really care about that much. For example, right now, I'm reading an entire book, over 1,000 pages on economics. Although the economy is great, at some point, talking about labor, profits, how prices actually work, the price of gold compared to corn and silver, all this stuff, at some point, it gets boring. But there are things that are going to basically help me throughout life if I understand exactly how the economy works and how we built this entire system that we actually live on today. So sometimes you're going to have to read books you don't really care about that much, but are going to benefit you in some way. And usually, if I'm being honest here, the books you actually don't really like, but actually benefit you eventually, you'll want to read those books more and more and kind of like leave those books behind that actually don't benefit you, although they're very entertaining. Because basically, entertainment and benefit is very different. I can read 1,000 books in 1 year about trash, and I will not improve as a person. But if I read 1,000 books about things that actually matter to me and actually improve me as a person, I'm going to become a much better person, okay? I'm not out here reading Gossip Girl 24/7, okay? That's what I'm saying here. But if you do watch Gossip Girl, I'm not throwing like a sub at you. It is what it is. But I'm saying is read books that benefit you also, because those books are entertainment and they're not going to benefit you in any way. My ratio today is 80% of the books I actually read, more than 90% are actually books that actually help me, I like, and actually improve me. And then maybe 10% are books that basically, hey, it's pretty good, it's a good story, and it's not just like, it's just entertainment basically, okay? Those books sometimes I read, but more than often, I'm not reading those books whatsoever. Now, number 3 is this. How many hours should you spend reading if you're just getting into reading? Now, obviously, it depends on what type of person you are, your schedule, what type of job you have, and so on and so on. Do you work out? What do you do? So basically, if you are an absolute beginner, you want to focus on 3 things, which is basically, when are you going to read, okay? The location you're going to read, and at what time you're actually going to read, okay? So for example, hey, I want to start reading. So basically, I'm going to wake up at 7 a.m. and I'm going to read 10 pages for 10 minutes every single day, okay? That's going to be my new routine. That's going to be the habit I'm actually building. Now, what happens is this, okay? Reading 10 pages a day is not going to get you that far. I'm being honest here, but it will get you started. Now, when you read 10 pages a day, usually you will want to read more and more and more. And that is when you start to develop more and more reading patterns. So basically, you go from 10 pages a day to start reading 100 or 150 or an hour a day, whatever it is, okay? So basically, an ideal day for me is, hey, I wake up at 5 a.m., go to the gym, and while I'm at the gym, I read a book for around an hour with my audiobook. And then when I come back home, I do everything I have to do and so on. But then later at night, I read a book, a physical book, for around 2 to 3 hours, okay? That would be an ideal day for me. So around 4 to 5 hours of reading every single day. Most of the times though, I'm being honest here, I usually just take the 1 hour of reading at the gym and I basically don't read at home. But I want to get into the, hey, I want to read 3 to 4 to 5 hours every single day, physical books, when I'm at home. Why? A lot of people that are billionaires, millionaires, for example, Warren Buffett, that's what they basically do. Plus, guys, okay, the way I see books is kind of like a hack, right? It's a hack to life. I get to live somebody's entire life through this book and avoid all the mistakes they made, and also just capitalize on all the gains they actually had in their life, but basically doing it by also avoiding all of the mistakes. So books to me are like a hack. It improves me a ton and it helps me avoid a ton of nonsense that I would have made if I never read that book in the first place. Now, number 4 is basically, guys, how much money should you spend on books? By the way, I have a link down below to Audible. When you sign up with my link, you get 2 free books. That way, guess what? It's free if you get started with my link down below. But you might say, Tommy, there is no way you can actually overspend on books. That's not true. The answer is yes, there is a way, okay? There is a real way, because basically, if you're buying 10 books every single month or 5 books per week, whatever it is, okay, and you're not practicing anything, you're not actually utilizing the book, in reality, you're just wasting money. Because, for example, one thing is reading for pleasure, and one thing is reading for knowledge, but knowledge is nothing without application. It's kind of like taking an entire course on e-commerce, or for example, credit cards, or for example, real estate, but you don't take action on it whatsoever. What is it? A waste of money. You have the tools, but you're not actually using it. That's why when I read about stocks, how to invest, what to buy, techniques, and all that stuff, guess what I did? I went ahead and I started buying stocks with a small amount of money, obviously, and I started practicing exactly what worked and what didn't work, okay? But, Tommy, I don't want to waste my money. The answer is, today, you can basically grab $100 and start a business with it, or for example, invest into stocks and see exactly if something's working or not working. But the point is, just knowledge by itself is no good. Application is going to be the most important thing. And now, lastly, guys, you literally have all the tools you need right here in this video. The answer is start reading or listening, no excuses, and then read books you actually enjoy but also benefit you. And then on top of that, pick a schedule. When are you going to read, and how many hours do you actually want to read every single day? But at least start small, very small, and then build up to a big amount later in life. And on top of that, how much money do you spend on books? When I first started, I just bought a book a week, okay? Buy a book a week. You read that book, you apply it, you keep going and going and going. Tommy, but that's like around $15 a week or $10 a week. Well, 10 times 4, well, that's around $520 every single year. But you're probably spending that much money on Chipotle or McDonald's or whatever you're actually buying out there. Books, over 200 books, guys. It's a lot of money, right? But in reality, I've made a lot of money because of those books, okay? So without those books, I guarantee I would not be the person I am today. So the ROI, return on investment, is very, very real. But overall, guys, that is about it right here. But before you go, comment down below and let me know exactly what are the top 5 books that you want to start reading. And by the way, one last thing is this, guys, okay? Sometimes you're going to read books you actually don't agree with. Read them, okay? Because that way you get the full perspective of whatever you actually are interested in, okay? It's not good just to read things that basically kind of support your entire ideas all the time. You want to read things that destroy what you believe in. That way you understand exactly where other people actually come from. But every now and then, some books are just going to be trash, and you're going to have to go ahead and just put it down and say, hey, I'm not interested in this whatsoever. But know the difference from you being upset because somebody's telling you, hey, what you're doing is wrong, from somebody telling you, hey, this is the right way, but hey, that's actually trash, okay? So just make sure you understand both sides of whatever you're actually reading out there, okay? I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Comment down below again, don't forget. And also, like this video if you liked it. On top of that, also, if you're new here, subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified. And before I go, if you want to text me or call me, join my Patreon, link down below, or send me a DM on Instagram at TommyBryson. And also, if you want to see all the books I've read so far, or a few of them, here's a video right here. And also, click my Patreon now. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and as always, peace.